Hey guys, and welcome to game 6 out of 100 of the Mac vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top Scrabble playing bot, HastyBot. The first 5 games actually all went in my favor, so we're off to a very nice start. I strongly encourage you to check out some of those games, especially the past game 5, since that one was really close and intense. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get game 6 underway. I should be going first this game. Perfect. So we have a decent rack here to start things off. A little bit vowel heavy. The Z is nice, especially with the blank. I think here we're very likely going to want to exchange. Although there is the potential for maybe burning the blank if I can score well enough with the Z and get it on one of these double letter scores. I'm not seeing a way for it to be possible. I see like Cozy and Piezo, but they don't quite put the Z on the double. Ousel. Yeah, it would probably be with EIOZ blank, and I don't believe there are any... Oh, actually we do have Zowie. So this is interesting. Do we play Zowie for 46, keeping IU, or do we exchange probably 4 or 5, keeping E blank or EZ blank? This is actually kind of close. It feels kind of awful to burn the blank and all our good tiles for a non-bingo and keep IU, but at the same time it feels kind of awful to score 0 when you can score 46. So I'm just trying to think in terms of like pure equity valuation. IU is probably, it's pretty bad. It's probably almost -10 is my guess. So Zowie's equity valuation is probably about -36 is my best guess. Just because IU is a pretty lousy leave as far as 2-tile leaves go. Whereas if we exchange, normally I don't love keeping the Z early because it hampers our ability to bingo, but since we have the blank, I feel like that does allow us to leverage the Z more flexibly and maybe score a lot of points if we do bingo. So I think I would be inclined to keep the Z here if we do trade. And easy blank is so strong. Like that's probably, I don't know, that's got to be at least 35 points of valuation because a blank is almost 30 and then EZ is so strong on top of that. It also has the benefit of giving a little bit less to work with than Zowie for him. It's a pretty close call, and it's tough to give up 46 points, but I kind of think I'm better off exchanging here. I'll be curious to see if I got the equity valuation right. My guess is Zowie's is like 36 or 37, and exchanging is probably like around that also, maybe like 35. So I think it's probably a slight equity sacrifice, but I think the long-term benefit of keeping Z blank and also just giving a little bit less back to him immediately makes it worth it. So I'm going to trust my instinct here and exchange. Okay, so we have drawn a better looking rack here. We've got a few A's and E's. I don't quite think there'll be a bingo playable. We almost have Mazidia, which would be crazy through the eye, but we'd actually need a third A for that, so that's not available. I see things like Jade as well as G's from the J. I'm kind of leaning towards G's right now, just because it does score a lot more. The downside is that it does give back the G's hook with an E, which I don't have. So I don't love that aspect of G's. It is just such a significant point sacrifice though to play Jade, and Jade has plenty of hooks in its own right that I don't have. ZAE blank is certainly overall stronger than AAD blank, especially with scoring potential next turn. I just feel like 16 here is probably a little much to give up. If G's also does have potential for me to use the Ed and ZA spot just to score some points if I do have a clunky rack next turn and unload some tiles, which is nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to play G's here. I feel like 16 is a little bit too much to give up at this point. Okay, so he did use that spot quite effectively, although he would have done so as well with Jade. So he plays Reed to 5 for 55. I'm close to bingos here. Like, I almost have Vanadium with an N or an M. Not immediately seeing anything to that L or T, but it's worth just quickly looking since we're close to stuff like Viaduct or Disvalue. So it's worth quickly going through the alphabet. Not quite seeing it though. I almost have Dividual also with a D, or Overducel with an O or a C, but also one letter off. If we don't bingo, we'll almost certainly be playing Fava here just to score 30 and unload the V. I'm going to look for about 10-15 more seconds, but since we already spent a lot of time, it's not worth spending too much more. There's also, I guess, the remote possibility of 9s through this L and this E, but I don't think that's going to work either. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and play Fava. Oh boy, so we have drawn a lot of I's, and we actually have Iridium on this rack and nowhere to play it with a blank M. But we do have the crazy bingo of Daiquiri through this A with a blank Q, which only scores 59, and of course gives up this monster S spot in the corner if he has it, but I don't think we really have a choice. I just want to quickly make sure there's no other bingos that play, but I have a hard time imagining it. I think the only 8s in that rack are Iridiums and Daiquiri. It would have to be presumably through one of the letters in Fondest. I guess Viridium is no good, it's just Viridian. So we can't bingo through that V. I guess I could also play Irid here. And score 31 and keep the blank. But IU blank is not great. Like, it's 28 points I'm giving up, and if it was just a blank, I'd maybe consider it, but IU blank significantly devalues it, so I think Daiquiri is probably okay, and I'm still going to be down actually a bit, so I don't really mind taking a risk here and going for the S. I do need to be a little bit aggressive if I want to come back, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, and sort of fasten my seatbelts and hope for the best. Okay, so, well, bad news, he bingoed. Good news, he didn't take the Daiquiri spot, and I got an S. However, I don't have a lot I can do there, because I've got the Q and the X and just not enough vowels. So, wow, this is a really strange position. So I'm down 100, which is a lot. I definitely can't afford to play lax here and take away that spot from myself. The question is, do I cash in immediately with something like balls? It scores 51. I mean, that's okay. That's not great, especially keeping a Q and an X. And I'm going to need to bingo to get back in this game. I just don't love my other options. QI is also not an option here just because it takes away the spot. I don't think I can really use this X spot very well. I just don't feel like playing Lex. I mean, and I guess I'd be hoping for an I for Kiblas or something, but I also run the risk of him just blocking. I mean, I guess HastyBot is more equity driven, so he's less likely to sacrifice a lot to block, but certainly against a human, I would be thinking if I don't use that spot next turn, even if he doesn't have an S, it's pretty easy for him to block it, or at least make it a lot harder for me to use. So I kind of think I need to cash on and then hope to maybe play off the Q and the X for a big score and then bingo. That's unlikely, but that's probably my best path into the game at this point. I don't think I have a place to play Kibla immediately. I also need to watch my time. I'm already down to about 5 minutes. Yeah, I think I probably need to cash in. So it's Bowels versus Balls. I guess Bowels is 3 more. But if I'm gonna keep a Q and an X though, I'd rather play off an extra tile. I really need like the U. I need good stuff to be able to unload that. And I need to, I think, give myself another chance. So I think that's worth the 3 points to me in this position. Yeah, I'm definitely not happy about making this play and cashing in for only 51 in that spot. But I think I've kind of got to do it. I just don't see Lex working out in most cases. Not that this will work out in most cases either, but I think it'll work out more often than Lex. So let's see what happens. Okay, so he doesn't have a big play, which is good. And I'll at least be able to dispose of one of the X in the queue. I'm looking firstly at something like Nixie over here, which scores 40. It also sets up another spot for me to drop my Q next turn and hopefully start building back towards a good rack. I don't see how I'm going to score that many points with the X. I still can't use this X spot next to G's very effectively. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to probably just go ahead and play Nixie here. Okay, so he plays Crux, and he gives me a big play of Quench through the C, which keeps a NS. So, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now I can't remember. Can Hennekins be spelled like that? Or is it just H... Oh, boy. Because Henneken is good H-E-N-E-Q-U-I-N and H-E-N-E-Q-U-E-N and H-E-N-I-Q-U-E-N. Is it good like this? I kind of don't think so. Oh boy, this would be really sick though if it's good. Jeez, this is such a tough call because if this isn't good, I mean the game is pretty much over if I play it, because then I'll likely lose the Quench spot. This looks funny to me. I kind of don't think this is good. Oh, this is what happens when you don't study those 8s for extended periods of time. Oh, gosh. I need to decide quickly, too. I only have 2 minutes left. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass it up. I just, that spelling doesn't look right to me. I don't think it's good all 4 ways. And I know for sure it's good H-E-N-E-Q-U-I-N and H-E-N-I-Q-U-E-N and H-E-N-E-Q-U-E-N. I know those 3 are all good, and I just don't think it's good with 2 I's for some reason. Well, I might regret this, guys, but I'm going to play Quench. I tie the game. And see, now I'm going to have, I imagine a bingo somewhere. I have Tanner's. And now I really need to rush. I'm down to 2 minutes. After waffling on whether to play Hennekins. I very well may regret that. It would have been an absolutely sick play. But I just didn't feel in that position. Given my level of confidence on it, I could risk it. Does Tanner's not play? Entrance to a T? I don't think I can bingo. Do I just play netballs then? That's a nice little extension. Wow, I need to really hurry here too, guys. Oh boy. I kind of think I should just fish since my leave is so strong rather than cashing in. So I just play off an N. I think I'm just going to probably play off an N. Yeah, I'm going to try to bingo and be aggressive here. I'm going to probably start not playing too well since I'm very low on time, but let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, so he plays Dobie, and where am I bingoing? Santoro, Senators, Treason, Atoners. Santoro doesn't... Am I going to have to... Oh, I guess Santoro in 1 looks fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Plays Gem. Probably just Yowie. I'm really low on time. I think I have to just play Yowie or Yod. Let's say Yowie, just because I don't want to keep 3 bells. Frog, and now, yeah, I'm going to run out of time, I think, here to process this. Shoot. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, I have no idea if this wins, but... Wow, it did. Sheesh. Okay, yeah, I'm sure I didn't play that endgame optimally. I'm quite sure I didn't. I just really want to know if Hennigan's is good. I'm just going to quickly check on my phone before I look at the game. It's no good. Wow, what a call. Okay, that's a big relief, because that would have been such a sad thing to not play if it is good. So wow, okay, very good instinct there, at least on my part. Not at all good time management on my part this game. But yeah, let's look at some of those decisions in more detail, especially later on. So, oh, I missed Iodize. Yeah, that looks more worth it than Zowie or Ionize. I don't know why I didn't look for 6s there. That's that's kind of a bad lapse, actually. I should almost definitely do that. It looks like interesting. He wants me to keep a few more vowels if I exchange, which I could see one more vowel, maybe EIZ, but I don't like EIOZ blank. That seems a little too vowel heavy. So I think exchanging over Zowie is reasonable, but I don't know why I didn't really consider the possibility of 6s. But yeah, Iodize to get rid of the extra vowel and score the extra point. That's got to be worth it. So this is it's actually a pretty sizable mistake, because I think 48 with a U, yeah, that's probably 42 valuation versus I think about 35. So this is about a 7-point mistake by equity standards, maybe 8. And I mean, Iodize does give a lot back, but it's not, I don't think, enough to justify passing it up. So yeah, this is a mistake. Yeah, G's looks fine. Oh, Zaida is interesting also. I think I got a little bit fixated on the J. Zaida is probably a little bit sounder just to not give back that huge E-hook that ended up costing me a bit in the next turn when he played Redefy. EE blank is also a bit more flexible than AAD blank, so for only 3 points, I think this is actually another inaccuracy here. Zaida just positionally is a lot better than G's. So yeah, a little bit of a sloppy start to this game for me. Zaida is definitely a better play. But in any case, Redefy is a nice play by him. So I was correct here, at least. I did not miss any bingos. Fava looks perfectly fine in this position to score and unload the V. Honest, yeah, I think Daiquiri and Irid are the clear 2 options to consider, and I just feel like at this score, I've got to go with Daiquiri, and IU blank just isn't really strong enough to justify that sacrifice, so I think this is okay. He bingos. Yeah, I mean, obviously all the top equity plays are going to be in that spot. I saw Lax and thought about it, but I just can't afford to keep a Q and take away that spot for myself. I think just using it now while I can, and as I was able to, trying to cash in on these scoring tiles the next couple turns to get myself back in the game is probably the way to go. So he plays Q. I guess, yeah, this is kind of a close call. I mean, AGNR it's a good leave. I don't feel it's that great a leave, though. He's definitely relying a lot on an I to make it strong for ING. And there's not, I mean, on the other hand, there's not a lot of great stuff to go for turnover for. There's a couple S's, but there's no blanks left. So I'm not necessarily thinking, oh, Uncage is so much better to dig more for certain things in the bag. I don't really mind Q. I still probably favor Uncage a little bit. I just don't necessarily think ANGR with no open eyes floating is that great a leave. So I think I'd probably slightly prefer Uncage here. It's obviously neck and neck equity-wise, but I don't mind Q either. Yeah, Nixie looks pretty clear here. Crux hard to argue with that. Racy is 1 more point, but obviously keeping the U is much worse than the A. So Crux does look good, and luckily I was able to capitalize with Quench, and I did thankfully talk myself out of Hennekins. That would have almost certainly been a game-losing mistake, as he'd challenge it off and then use the C, and I don't have a lot of other options. I'd be forced to play something like Queen, and it's looking pretty bleak. But yeah, that was very tough to talk myself out of, because it was like 110 points. And if I didn't have such a strong play in Quench, I very well might have gone for it, but I just sort of looked at the overall position, and I was like, if I play Hennekins and it comes off the board, my odds of winning the game are pretty close to 0. Whereas if I play Quench, and which obviously I know for sure is a word, I'm tying the game and I'm keeping NS, which is a really strong leave. Like, I'm putting my win percentage at pretty close to a coin flip at that point. And that would mean I'd need to be pretty positive of Hennekins to justify playing it. Because even if I do play Hennekins, so that's like 110, I mean, I go up a bit, but I mean, I'm not like guaranteed to win all of a sudden if I play it. I'm probably 70% to win. So, I mean, to give up a clear 50% win for a chance at a 70% win, but also a chance at a 0% win, like, you've got to be pretty confident that that's a word. I guess from an expected value standpoint, you've got to be 50 over 70, so 5/7, which is about 70% sure that Hennekins is good like that. And I was, if anything, leaning towards it not being good, and I didn't really go through that math in such detail, but I think it's instructive to think about now that it's a little bit less of a stressful kind of in-game decision. So I would have probably needed to be about 70% confident that it was valid, and I was probably more like 70 or 80% confident it was not valid. So definitely the right call here. And I mean, obviously, given that it wasn't good, especially, it was the right call. But even if it did end up being good, just given where I stood on the word, I think I made the right calculated decision in this case, just given that Quench was available. So he plays Radon here, which looks pretty good. Dragoon is also an option. I think maybe I prefer this a little bit. The G, there's 2 more Gs left, and Gs are just pretty clunky in general. So I'm not really loving that for only a couple more points. It does have the benefit of blocking this spot, so I can't drop something like Wad for like 40 points. But Dragoon does at least take away this Y. Yeah, I think I'd slightly prefer Dragoon in this position, but I mean, I don't hate Radon. Yeah, so here I was definitely starting to panic with my time pressure, and I think I spent like another almost minute just sort of surprised I didn't have a bingo playable here and confirming that. I saw netballs, and maybe I should have just gone for that, but I got kind of enamored of this idea of fishing off a tile and opening a new lane because this leave is so strong. And I saw all these O's left, which hit with Santoro. I know E's are gonna hit. I mean, I would assume an E will play somewhere. There's Easterns. Yeah, Sterane, I guess, would fit next to NE, and also next to balls. I's obviously going to bingo. A will bingo with Santoro. So all the vowels bingo, and plenty of other tiles should give me bingos that play too. So I think NE is actually probably fine here. It felt uncomfortable making a 2-point play, and I was really starting to sweat under time pressure. But I think looking back, it's probably okay, just given how high my bingo percentage is. He plays Dobie, which looks strong. Hub may be a little bit better just to keep a few vowels. He does run the risk with Dobie of getting pretty saddled with consonants, which that would really be bad for him. He's trying to protect the lead here, and if he gets 6 or 7 consonants, then I might even be able to come back without a bingo in some cases. It would be unlikely, but it's possible. So I kind of think I prefer Hub just to keep more flexibility and give himself more leeway to do what he needs to do to protect his lead. So yeah, Santoro looks good here. So yeah, Senator and Treason are the only other things that play, but Santoro is a few more points. Gem is pretty hard to argue with here. I mean, scores well, keeps a pretty flexible leave. It's just miles better than anything on the equity front. So, yep, looks good. In here, I definitely 36 seconds, 11 tiles still in the bag, close game. I'm definitely starting to panic and just sort of play the first thing I see. But I think Yowie is okay. I almost played Yod because it does keep 3 vowels, but I saw the consonant heavy ratio, but then I saw the 3 O's and keeping AIO. I was like, yeah, if I draw 1 or 2 of those O's, it's going to be really bad for me. And keeping 2 A's is fine with no A's unseen. So I think Yowie looks good here. He plays Prague, and yeah, I don't know here. I had 21 seconds. I just quickly played War, which is almost certainly not a good play. But I didn't really want to empty the bag. Whapped is probably enough though to justify that. It's 42, so that would put me up. What would that put me up? That would put me up 31, keeping an S. So that looks pretty solid. Even if I'm emptying the bag, I'll be drawing 3, playing 5. So I'll have 5 tiles left, including an S and an endgame. That's a pretty commanding position. He could, I guess, bingo out with something like looking and loan, but that's relatively unlikely. I mean, War does block that, but I might even be giving him something from the W in return. Like I think Gown-like is good. I'll check that, but I'm pretty sure Gown-like is good. So I'd be oh, it's not. Never mind. Gown-like is no good. I must be thinking of something else. But there's probably something through that W I would be giving him anyway. Let's see. No, actually, there's not. Which of course I'm not going to have time to compute in 20 seconds. But it turns out War actually doesn't give him back any bingos, and it does block some from the lone hook. So there is some merit to that. I don't know whether it scores enough to reliably win in endgames, because I'll be leaving 1 in the bag, but if he plays something like Kemp on top, he'll be going up over 20, and then if he draws an out next turn, like if I draw the V and he plays Kemp and then has like Lingo or something next turn to go out, I doubt I'm gonna have enough points because I won't be able to bingo. Yeah, like I'm thinking, so if I play War, I go up 17. He plays Kemp for 36, so he's up 19. Like, let's say I draw VO, which is pretty possible here, and then he has Lingo. I mean, he's going to be going out with lowing and tolling here, so he'll have 2 outs. And I can't stop him from going out, and I'm not going to be able to make up 19 points plus his outplay in net. So I don't think War is worth it, because there's plenty of endgames I'll lose, even though I do block some immediate out bingo losses. So I think if I see it, Whapped has to be the play here. It's just so commanding in all the endgames. It basically only loses if he bingos out, which I mean is quite unlikely at the end of the day. So yeah, I saw this spot next turn, and I mean, not going to really fault myself with 20 seconds, but yeah, this looks like it's not a huge mistake. I mean, War should still win most of the time, I have to imagine, but it's definitely not accurate. So let's see, from his perspective here, what looks good. So he played Move, which did go out. I guess the problem for him is I am threatening these big plays up top with Kipped and maybe even Gapped if he draws the K. So it would be nice for him to block them, but the problem is he can't really... Maybe Movie, actually. How about Movie through that I? I don't know why it's not coming up here. But yeah, how about Movie through this I for him? Might be a good play. So that would be 18. Because then if he can go out, I'm just not really sure where I'll be able to score enough to outrun him. So I'm just gonna quickly export this into Quackle so I can look at this position. Okay, so yeah, if he had played movie instead of move here, I think, let's see what would have happened. So he still has long, and he's threatening to go out with Anglo. He might not have another out though still, so I might be able to win here if I block that. Oh, I still have Kippa. Okay, and that would be enough. That's fair. So maybe in this case, movie is not best. I'm curious to see what Quackle says in terms of what his best pre-endgame play is here, because with one in the bag, Quackle is often fairly reliable if there's no crazy complications like stick situations. So let's see what Quackle says he should do. Apparently Ovoli here. Oh, that's a nice play. Yeah, that's really nice, because it also blocks the spot. Not only does it block Kipped, it blocks Kippa, and MEN is probably more likely to go out next turn. So yeah, this actually looks really nice. I wonder what would have happened if he played this and I drew the G. Or he drew the G like he did in the game. So he's now threatening to go out with mange through this A, but I don't think he has another out. So I can probably block that and win, is my guess. If I can go out in 2. But let's see what Champ says. Yeah. So basically I just have to block mange and then go out in 2, and I would still win. But that being said, I think that Ovoli probably wins with a lot more draws than anything else. Champ was saying it wins 5 out of 8. So I'm guessing, let's see, with an A, he'll almost certainly win, because he'll have several outs, right? He'll have Mean here, Nima over here. I don't think I can... Oh, and Main under here, right? Under RE. So an A draw will certainly win. A D draw should win, because he'll have Mend and MY and Mained through this A. So a D draw will win. An E draw, he'd have Neem somewhere, maybe? Maybe an E draw actually might be a little bit... Oh, he has Toneem from this TO. Does he have another out? Oh, Anima to this A. And I probably can't block both. So yeah, an E draw should win. A G draw we just saw loses. An I draw will win almost certainly. Yeah, he'll have Anime and Mine. K and P are probably bad for him, because then he can't go out. And then an S draw, I don't know if he can go out with Mains and Mensa. Yeah, so I think Quackle is right here with the 5 out of 8. He needs to draw 2 outs next turn, and he does that if he draws A, D, E, I, S. So he loses with GKP draw, but yeah, 5 out of 8 is likely the best he can do. Ovoli looks like a great play for HastyBot in this position. So I think he it turns out it wouldn't have won for him anyway, but I think a little bit of an oversight here by HastyBot in the pre-endgame. Ovoli would have been a little bit better, but in any case, he went ahead with move, and at this point, I don't have enough time to try to figure out where he's going out. I see he has long. I don't see anywhere immediately to play it, and I'm sort of just like, I need to score as much as I can and hope I hold on, because I don't have enough time to compute this. So I just immediately play Kipped, and yeah, it was enough, barely. That's my second 9-point victory in a row, I believe. So another crazy game. I didn't play well early on. My first 2 turns were both a bit inaccurate, but I think I played really solid after that. In fact, I don't really think I made any mistakes after turn 2. But yeah, missing Iodized the first turn was sloppy, and G's instead of Zyda was a inaccuracy. So overall, not a terrible game for me. I'm really glad I made the right call too on passing up Panikins. That was a really pivotal position. So I'm happy with this game. I just got to be a little more careful in the openings. But overall, another really good game, really interesting, a lot of complexities with like the S-hook on daiquiris. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we're now off to a 6-0 lead, as crazy as that sounds to start things off. So we'll see if we can keep that going. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.